We got a coach that seems to be looking for his next job. We got hello.
My sincere apologies.
And this is what we call family.
They wait until it's time to podcast, and then they want to talk to you. They be like, all day long.
I don't know, but can we still go?
So this right here, the 31, 32.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hey.
All right. Here we go. YouTube, we're back. It's off season, and we're talking Commanders. But before we get into the topic of the day, before we go forward, before we get ready for training camp and the preseason and getting ready for, I believe, the Phoenix Cardinals, the first game of the year. Arizona Cardinals, the first game of the year. I'm gonna let y'all know who is in the camp with us today. I have a special guest, Mr. Always Right, Trey Z. He's here, baby. Special guest. Because he's gonna be right today. He's not gonna be wrong, he's gonna be right. And we got my main man, Deacon. The main man, Deacon, is here. He ain't a special guest because he always here, but he's here.
Gotta run the controls.
Hey, man, we the OGs of the DMV. We love each other. We tease each other. It's all season.
It's off season, baby.
We always say
Off season.
It's off season.
We're ready. It's off season.
It's off season. And we
Disclaimer.
making up stuff. Hey, we got an exciting topic today about the Commanders. Exciting topic. Stay with me. Woo! Hey, exciting. But fellas, what we always do before we start the show, what we always do, let's
Get it.
DC, where you got chickens to make it harder to get them digits, the skins and them cowboy tickets. DC, the K-Corps, dirty Cadillacs, Desert Eagle get a blast. Watch your back. 4 corners of hate, 4 corners of death, 4 corners that'll take your last breath. Northeast, southwest, southeast, and northwest. It's the devil's diamond, feel it from your head to your chest. Hope you got your best. 4 corners of hate, 4 corners of death, 4 corners that'll take your last breath. Northeast, southwest, southeast, and northwest. It's the devil's diamond, feel it from your head to your chest. Hope you got your best.
We back, fellas. We're back. YouTube, we're back. We getting ready for preseason. We getting excited. We ready to go. Ready to put our helmets on, our shoulder pads. We smell it in the air. We smell preseason in the air. We ready. And unfortunately, fellas, HBO decided to go another way. Reality show for football. They went another way. Thinking, who they pick? They didn't pick us though. I know that.
With the Jets, they going with Aaron Rodgers.
They
Told you.
Golden Boy.
The Golden Boy.
Yeah,
They decided not to pick the Commanders.
He's excited. He picking out outfits. It's gonna be Aaron Rodgers is a card, man. He's
gonna
into
see.
that, man. He's not like some of those quarterbacks, just real, serious.
Well, I will
on
say that
Aaron
really
Rodgers
makes me
is
watch.
the Joe Montana. Yeah, he's not Joe Montana. What's the boy name? From the Jets.
For the Jets. Carl Frankton.
What? This dude said Franklin.
It was a quarterback.
Name was
Talking about Namath.
Joe
Namath.
Well,
Broadway Joe. Yeah.
Broadway Joe. Joe Namath.
Broadway Joe.
I was close
AKA
to you.
Franklin.
Yeah.
Where the hell you get Franklin?
You get that job for the TV.
He got that cup down by his knee. Nobody can see it.
Well, Hard Knocks decided not to go with the Commanders. We do know that. Hard Knocks, HBO just said, nah, not the Commanders, not this year. Maybe next year, but not this
Not
year.
mad at that at all, man. Really,
Not at all.
we just need to focus, man. Don't need to be everybody don't need to see our stuff. We don't need to get caught up in nothing. Because we got some cards on our team, too. I think that whole defensive line would be posing, shirts off all the time. They just be out there just doing whatever, man. And there you go.
Fred Smoot be on the camera.
Yeah.
Fred Smoot.
Fred Smoot come back. Hey, speaking of Fred and them, man, they had a little preview, a holiday show. And I just want to say, this is another thing I was right about. Or at least according to, my man Moss. He said he was looking for the Gadget Man, Al, as having a breakout year.
Mr. Curtis,
Yeah.
my main man Curtis.
Main
He said
man.
that last year.
Did he? We all did, didn't we?
No, you said it last year. You said this
No,
year.
I said it every year because I'm like,
He's a crazy.
but at the end of the day, they pretty much just named our starters. You know, I thought that was real political. Everything. Everybody got a shout
Everybody
out.
ready for breakout.
The Gibson, you know, I think Smoot said he was going for Gibson. Of course, you know, he had to mention this man, Forbes. At some point, force him in there. They was talking about offense. He was like, yeah, but if you had another guy on the other side like Forbes, I'm
Hype man.
But he was, we coming off, we had a lot of feedback. Thank y'all for commenting about where we overrate, our team. I think we all got a little bit of embellishing, when it comes to our team. But overall, though, fellas, I'm hearing through the grapevine that a lot of players or of other teams in the NFC East are now got to look at us a little different. It's not just an easy W, man. They're looking at us like, we might be the spoilers. You know what I'm saying? Trap game kings again this year. That's what they kind of saying now. What y'all feel about that?
Sounds good.
I mean, I think we are. I think we're gonna be a trap game this year. I think Philly's scared of us already because we beat them last year.
That's right.
You know what I'm
They're
saying?
nervous.
That's
They're
right.
nervous already. I think Dallas took a step back. My personal opinion. They're not. I don't think they're as strong as they were from last year. I think they took a step back.
After year 15 of being the Super Bowl champs, I think we finally get the picture that you're not what you say
Right.
you are.
Right.
Just step back. Shut up.
Right on.
And then Giants, I think everybody figured out what the Giants, especially if Saquon doesn't play, Saquon wants his money. If he doesn't play, Giants, they're beatable. They're beatable without Saquon.
Right. No receivers.
No receivers, They got Darren Waller, I think, is the tight end, but he gets hurt every year, though. So that's anybody they picked up was Darren Waller. So I think that everybody's
Waller is nice though. Waller is nice though.
Yeah, he's nice when he's healthy. He just can't stay healthy.
We got a tight end like that.
Yeah, we got a tight end like that too.
We do.
Hey, Sticky Fingers I seen a podcast with Sticky Fingers, and he feels disrespected. I believe Sticky Fingers had 7 touchdowns last year.
Mm-hmm.
He had like 500
Most on the
yards,
team.
600 yards, and he didn't get no pub. He did get hurt in the middle of the season, and we're not winning. But he didn't get no national pub, but he felt disrespected. And he's determined to come back this year and prove that he was the top receiver of that particular draft. So I was happy to hear that.
He got that chip on that shoulder, baby.
And I just like the way Sticky Fingers was talking, man. I just like the way he was talking and what he wants to do this year, and the fact that he's looking forward for quick slants and choice routes and stuff like that. That he feels.
Hey, Al, tell the people who Sticky Fingers is for those who don't and watch it for the first time.
Sticky Fingers is our rookie wide receiver that we picked up last year. I think he was formerly rookie. He was the 15th pick. We were supposed to pick up another receiver. Who was that? Lave? We thought we were going to pick
Chris
up.
Olave.
Yeah.
And we end up picking Sticky Fingers out of Penn State.
We traded out of that, and then we picked him.
What was it, 15 or 17? What
It was 16.
16.
Yeah.
And I'm way off.
You just bouncing around.
In between.
It was between, and he was, he was projected not to be even go that high, but he's proven to be a better receiver than we all thought he could be.
That's right.
Right on. Thought we can be, and he feels like that he was the top receiver of last year in the draft. He feels he's better than Olave in there.
That's right. Olave had 1,000 yards last week.
Wide receiver's different.
And Olave didn't get hurt either. Olave played the whole season.
Yeah, but obviously,
let's bring that up. Bring that up. Let's have a discussion about that.
Okay, it would have been good either way, though. I think if we had Chris Olave, that would have been just another Terry. So we needed somebody who was more about route running in our team than we did just picking up another good wide receiver. But we were talking about running backs, and is the 1,000 yard marker valid in this age? And we have to reevaluate what a good year a running back has, because 1,000 yards, what is that, like 70 yards a game or 60 yards a game?
60 yards a
Through
game.
17 games? We should be looking at 1,500 at least, right? Because when a running back get 1,000 yards back in the day when we was coming up, it was 12 games, 13 game seasons. So you're talking about getting 1,200 yards. That's 100 yards a game. It was more of a running system at that point before they started throwing the ball all over the place. But is it valid now for a running back to claim 1,000-yard season when we have 17 games and 1,000 yards is basically 60 yards a game? I know more teams are about the wide receivers now than they are the running backs, but the running back is still important. I mean, you still have to run the ball. You can't continue to throw the ball on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. You got to have a bruiser in there. But is that all they're good for now? Is it only good for short yardage and not for a game controlling type of atmosphere where we used to run the ball 30, 40 times a game? Now they throw it 30, 40 times a game. So I would just ask, I mean, is 1,000 yards really something to blow, good at? So that's what we're talking about.
Well, I believe most teams run less than they did in the 80s and 70s, even the early 90s. Back in those days, I think the last big time running back I would say was Latamian Thomas, and Adrian Peterson. Those two are the last big time running backs where they got the ball almost every play. You know what I'm saying? Thomas and AP they got the ball when they were in their prime. They got the ball, but after that, no other running back is not getting it like they got it before, 5 yards in a cloud of dust. You may see guys swing out and catch some passes. They may have this intermediate game, but they're not running more than 12 carries, 15 carries a game now. So it's hard to get to 60 yards. What do you think, Trey?
So I don't know the stat numbers or the average touches that a running back get. But there's a big boy out of Tennessee who beg to differ.
About that,
yeah. That he's that's all he's going to do is run people over. And there's a couple of more. I mean, I think them two boys out of Cleveland, man. I think they the same way. And it's all in how you still want to design your team. Now, the popular thing to do is where everybody wants to be the greatest show on turf, which is everybody's going downfield, and stuff like that. But there's something to that regimen of first and second down, we're going to run. Third down, if we have to, we're going to pass. Or we're just going to run it down your throat until we get down there and there's a field goal or touchdown. So my thing was, I think 1,000 yards of anything is still good. Any offensive move, 1,000 gets you talked about. And I think maybe that's why Jahan wasn't. You can get a lot of touchdowns. There's some guys that they were touchdown machines when you get down in there. What's your boy name? McCaffrey, right? Isn't that what he does? I mean, you get him down to 10 yards. Everybody know the ball going to him. If he's going to catch it in the end zone or he's going to run it. He's going to score. And I think that's what Gronk was doing. Gronk was doing that in, when he was in with the Pats. That's all it was. You knew where the ball was going to go. Brady told you, I'm throwing the Gronk. Stop him. Nobody could because they just had to play down where he can get the ball. So, but Gronk might not have got 1,000 yards. Well, I can't say that because Gronk usually did, but some people don't get 1,000 yards just scoring touchdown. Is it valid? Sure, because most of the teams were going to have more than one back. So it's not like one person is going to get the ball. So if he does get 1,000 yards, it's something. So Terry getting 1,000 yards 3 years in a row. AG getting 1,000 yards. Is it 3 or 2? Did he get it last year?
No,
I don't think he got it last year. I think the first 2 years he did.
Yeah, first 2 years he got 1,000 yards. That said a lot. That kept us in least conversation of, hey, they got some offensive weapons, and those two became, the sharpest tools in the toolkit. Does that? But going back to Deacon's point, does that weigh them against other backs? I don't know. What would an AG do behind a Dallas Cowboy offensive line? You know what I'm saying? Would he be just as good as that dude? And I'm not talking about half shirt. I'm talking about the Pollard.
Pollard.
I'm talking about as good as Pollard. Possibly. So I just don't want to take away from that 1,000-yard mark, but I do hear what Deacon is saying, because then when you said something, Al, when you were saying how many touches they get. So if they get less touches, then it's still incredible stat. If they get more touches, then Deacon's right. It's like, well, okay, well, what else are you supposed to do? You got to go forward. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, is this
expect 60 yards?
Is this because at one point the running backs were
Red butter.
Yeah, they made the most money
right after quarterback.
Yeah, so they were the key to teams. And is this part of the de-evaluation of running backs? You know, trying to bring them down as far as salary is concerned. You don't give them, because every team has a salary cap as far as your contract. You get 1,001 yards, you get a bonus. So did that start happening when you start getting to the bonus level and teams said, look, we can't continue paying these running backs that much money. You know what I mean? And is it? Well, let's say this. Can you still win with a dominant running game? And dominant meaning a high value running back. Let's say the best running back in the league. Can you win with just the best running back if you don't have wide receivers? Or can you win with wide receivers if you don't have a running back? Is this all part of the maturation of the game, or is it just running backs just can't do anything without an offensive line nowadays? Or is the offensive line the most important thing? Because you can't get through the line, you can't get no yards.
That's a good point.
So
Tennessee's been trying to win with a running back. They've been running that big boy for the last 3 or 4 years. They get to the playoffs, but they see it can't get over the top. Tennessee don't have a quarterback. The quarterback is very average. They got rid of the wide receiver Brown and sent him to Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia made it to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So Tennessee is the only team out there that's trying to win by strictly. Also, I think Atlanta likes to run the ball too. They, like Trey Z was saying, they got like 3 running backs in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So those two teams are trying to win by running the ball. Like I said, Tennessee look like they're not going to get over the hump. They're coming to the end of their run. And Atlanta, they talking about firing the coach already if he can't get it done this year.
So it's interesting. Going back to what you said, Deacon, right there, you were saying, can running backs do it without receivers? Isn't that what we did here in Washington, pretty much?
Well, I mean, can we win? We
didn't win though.
So the question is, that goes back to then your other piece, the offensive line. Mm-hmm. We can win if we got our front full pushing people out the way. There's so many run plays. There's so many different ways to move that ball, man. You can literally tire defense out with just one pass to the tight end and just run the ball if you have some offensive lines really pushing dudes around. What happens is when you get to those big games, you have what they call coaching, which is what I hope we have now. And the other team goes, okay, here are the things that we can do to stop their bread and butter. And we make them go a different route. But you got a team like, I'm just going to use them, Kansas City, even though they knew that, didn't stop them because those guys were just phenomenal at what they were doing. And they just couldn't stop that monster from happening. And then you had, I know he's not who's it, the Cheetah? He didn't play recently, but when the Cheetah was on their squad, you have somebody dynamic in the backfield like that, then you got, sky's the limit, because that guy was just like he's Flash, you know what I'm saying? So it didn't take much. And I think that we hadn't had a player like that until we had Portis, and that was in his first play in Washington, which was classic. That Portis was the closest thing we had. And then after that game, it was just a ticking, tick, tick, tick. He got a little slower. He got a little janky spanky with all of that. And he still ran the route, but he wasn't that Portis. If we had a Cheetah, if we had what's your boy in Tennessee? I can't think of his name. A big dude like that in Washington, I wonder. That's all I'm saying, because we're just talking running back.
Yeah. And And it starts from Boys Club too. Now all of the best athletes are trying to be wide receivers because that's where the money is.
Right.
So they coming up through the ranks as wide receivers, not exactly running backs. Even our running AG was a wide receiver in college.
Right.
We moved him to running back. And you can, I think you can win certain games. I just think when it comes down to it, let's say when we get into the playoffs, if you give a coach something to focus on, you only got a running back, you don't have no threats in the wide receiver, you start bringing people down in the box, shutting you down, and then the threat is one-on-one with the wide receiver. Then you check. So if you don't have a threat on the outside, you can't run on the inside. You can't run on the inside if you have no threats on the outside. So it's kind of they both need each other. So
I think Patrick Mahomes proved the point that you can win by pass. Patrick Mahomes proved that
you can win with a quarterback,
with a great quarterback. You can. Patrick proved that. I'm trying to think the last great running back that won the championship. Was it Beast Mode for Seattle?
Yeah, but he wasn't beast mode until he got toward half the season.
Yeah, but he took them to the Super Bowl and won with a rookie quarterback. Wasn't Russell Wilson a rookie back then?
Yeah.
Was it first or second year?
Yeah.
He might have been a second year wide receiver, but that's the last running back I remember taking them to the Super Bowl was Beast Mode. I'm trying to think if anybody else took them and won the Super Bowl by really running that rock. All I can think of was Beast Mode.
Yeah. It was just a question. I mean, it was an interesting thought to me that 1,000.
Yeah, I just think the one
like a lot,
I think today's NFL, the running back is not as valuable as they were before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
I agree, but I think it's slowly changing because we're not getting that pedigree of quarterback either.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You get guys come out there that, they're good, but they're not that razor sharp that they used to be. And you got to be able to not only throw the ball, move it, but you got to be, as a quarterback, you're supposed to be the general. You're supposed to be able to fit. See, that's why I think Brady lasts so long. Those quarterbacks that, get that real high when you talk about quarterback, the Breezes, the what's his name? The Mannings. Well, one of the Mannings. I'm gonna hold back on my Eli conversation, but the one Peyton, they were like stewards of the game, man. They were coach number 4. You know what I'm saying? They were out there like, yo, I got this play, and I guarantee you, the coach was like, all right, well, run it, and he said, I got this one. This is what we're gonna do, because they could see it, and it was just, that commanding presence, and now we haven't had that guy in quarterback position in Washington in a long time. Nobody, we look into the sideline for the play, and just give me the play. It's just not the same, man. You got to have somebody who's in there right now studying the playbook, which is why I'm glad to hear. And those of you who are watching, if you got this far, thank you. Like and subscribe. But, Sam Howell is right now with De'Ami Brown throwing passes right now at this moment. You know what I'm saying? So I know he's saying to him, hey, this is what I do. When I pat the ball, that means I need you to, they working it out. So De'Ami got a chance, to touch the field this year, and they played with each other for a while, So that could be something right there.
Yeah, this De'Ami's last opportunity. I think he had 2 touchdowns and 7 catches last year, and
he's just not getting open. He's not separating.
Yeah,
he got a lot of speed, but it takes him a while to get the speed up, and he's not a crisp route runner. He's not Jahan Dotson. That's why.
Is it because every time he touches the field, everybody knows he's going deep? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, what was that dude, Dotson? Everybody knew, okay, you're going to run that bull job.
Fade.
The safety was sitting right there, the cornerback, and guess what? Our quarterback still threw it. We were like, what? Yeah. They just wait for it. Everybody knew, because when you get in the game, when you never do, you're going to do a fade. Sometimes that you got to have a coach, which I hope we got now, going to put him out there for, not maybe a screen, maybe a drag, something else. It's like, okay, this guy's running routes, even though he's terrible at it, like Al said, but he's running the routes. So when he does cut up the field, you maybe catch him, you know what I'm saying, for him to do his thing. And then I think your boy Howell could drop it in the basket, because they've been practicing. At least that's the hope.
Hey, man, we're the Commanders, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Commanders.
We
All right,
Commanders,
fellas,
man.
let's get out of here. I've been told we're stretching it a little bit. So let's go ahead
Get out of here,
on.
baby.
Let's get out of here. We appreciate y'all, rocking with us, man. We appreciate all the new subscribers. And, if it's your first time here, man, hey, listen, come rock with us. We enjoy, just talking. And if you got something to say, put it in the comments and we'll probably, we do answer all the comments. I know Trey Z do. So all the comments, directed to him. All the
Wow, Tracy, Mr. Always Right.
Yeah, right. I see that. Hey, y'all have a good one. I hear the music playing. Where's Ron?
We appreciate it. We appreciate you, Chase Roulier. Retired this week.
No, thanks a lot, man, for all you've done, man.
Yeah, Chase.
A lot of bench warming. We appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Get heal, baby. Heal. Keep healing, baby.
Man.
Well, no, he was on it. I mean, he wasn't on it.
Oh,
He was hurt.
Oh.
He was hurt. And listen,
Get out of here, fellas.
you got to get your
Get
cut
out
on
of here, man.
All
Bye.
The policeman is on the premises. What is he doing in here? The policeman is on the premises. What is he doing in here? The policeman is on these premises. What is he doing in here? Policeman on these premises. What is he doing? Hey! Mo and Johan, the candy store, making a fortune behind the door. The cops went in and then Joe ran out. Then Brother Mo, he began to shout, "Run, Joe! Run, Joe!" Hey, the police on my at the door. "Run, Joe! Run, Joe!" The police, he won't let me go now. "Run, Joe! Run, Joe!" Got to run as fast as you can. "Run, Joe! Run, Joe!" Hey, the police on my nose, you're blind. Got one he tried to stand my bed. Don't wanna sleep in a restaurant in there. I the Christopher by the fence so that they won't find no evidence. When you get home, you get in bed. You call a doctor and you tie your head. Get your mama to invent a lie. You know you got to have a alibi. Run, Joe! Run, Joe! Hey, the police are mad at the door. Run, Joe! Run, Joe! Hey, the police, you wanna let me go. Run, Joe! Run, Joe! You got to run as fast as you can. Run, Joe! Run, Joe! The police are mad, knows you're fine. Joey, get it. Joey, I love you. Hey, Joey, yeah. Joey, y'all get it. Joey, run, Joe, run, Joe. Hey, the police are mad at the door. Run, Joe, run, Joe. The police, he won't let me go. Run, Joe, run, Joe. You got to run just as fast as you can. Run, Joe, run, Joe. The police are mad, knows you're fine.